All right, I'm not listening with headphones here. I don't have any audio plugged in. So hopefully you can hear me and see me. And it is once again another Friday night episode. And tonight's episode, we will get into it. We're talking all about the holiday of Ostara, otherwise known as the spring equinox and the first day of spring, what it means to me, some rituals, some practices, some food to eat, spring cleaning, finding balance, all of that kind of stuff. So that is the episode for tonight, and we'll get into it a little bit later on in the broadcast. First of all, what I need to do is I need to set us up for our Instagram feed, because I am simulcasting to Facebook, to YouTube, and also to Instagram. So I've got 2 out of the 3 going right now. So let me do that. Wow, 29 alerts. Okay. All right. And I have not done my card of the day yet today. It's been another crazy, crazy bonkers week this week in Tarot by Hilary land, both for my day job and for my tarot business, but mostly for my day job. So let me set this up and get this going, and hopefully I don't have, oh, okay, I'll have to respond to that in a little while. Okay. Most of my Instagram is I'm just following puppies. I'm just following cute puppies and kitties. Anyway, if you're viewing right now, wherever you're viewing from, just go ahead and drop it into the comments section so that I am sure that you can see me and hear me, so we can get started on the workshop for tonight. Oh, so cute. All right, no. Yes. All right. That is an extreme close-up there, and I don't even know if I have a beauty filter going on right now for Instagram. Let's see. Ostara Workshop. Okay, good. Get that started over there. Get that cooking over there. So for those of you who are tuning in through Facebook, let me know if you can see me. For those of you tuning in over YouTube, let me know if you can see me and hear me. And of course, for my Instagrammers over here, let me know if you can see me. And that way I am facing forward, and I know that all of the streams are working right now. And also, cheers. Having a little nice white wine in celebration of the equinox. I've got a pile of books back here, and a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of routines, rituals, how I personally celebrate Ostara is going to be coming up in this episode. And I still have to shut down for my my day job. So let me go ahead and do that. I wanted to make sure everything was logged in and working before I go ahead and sign off of there. Okay, looks good, looks good. Quit out of that. And I have so much work to do, so much. But that can wait until tomorrow. Okay. All right. Come on, sign off. There we go. Okay, so introductions, now that I know that everything seems to be working correctly. And actually, let me grab my tablet over here, make sure that everything's working. All right, I got that alert. Someone's messaging me about a spa day, which I ain't mad about. And that's not a spam message. That's actually someone that I know. Okay. Want to make sure everything's working first. And hello, Paula501. Let me wave to you. All right. Looks like it's working on YouTube as well. And all of my description is in there, so good. Okay, so introductions are in order. Hello, welcome. If you have never watched or tuned in to one of these episodes before, this is a weekly Friday night series I do every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, in which we talk about different metaphysical topics, and of course, tarot. And let me introduce myself if this is the first time you are watching, or even if it's the 50th time that you're watching. Hello. I am Hilary, professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition, because yes, my friend, do not argue with me. You have intuition. I believe everybody has intuition, and there are many ways to access your intuition. My primary usage or primary tool of accessing my intuition, or helping people to access their intuition so we can have a conversation when we're doing a tarot reading, is by the tarot. And it is kind of a strange thing to experience when you do a lot of tarot readings for people, and then all of a sudden you're getting messages without the cards. That's a fun side effect for being a professional tarot reader. Sometimes you're pulling different messages or different communications out of the ether, and you don't know where it's coming from. It's because you've probably been doing a lot of readings and you need to talk to your guides or talk to your intuition and say, I'm not working right now. Because sometimes people ask me if I just know everything all of the time, and the answer is no, not quite. If I focus towards something, then I'll usually pick up on stuff. But most of the time, it's just a kind of low-level buzz, and I'm really not getting much specific unless I specifically tune into that particular person or their situation. And that is really the nuts and bolts of how I do tarot readings. It is a matter of focusing our attention and using that tool of divination to focus not only on the person, but the energy and the situation of the question that they're asking. So we have Katie in the chat. Hello, Katie. Welcome to the broadcast. Nice to see you again. And we have D Rose here as well. So hello to D Rose. Welcome to you too. I believe we had Paula over on the Instagram, and I'm sure we'll have some of our regular peeps dropping in over the course of the episode. Like I'm sure Devon's going to show up at some points. I'm sure Dylan might show up, or oh gosh, I know there's more people than that, but those are the two people that I'm thinking of currently in my brain. Or Lisa even as well. So, but the really, really great thing about these episodes is, yes, they are done live every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but every single episode that I do is also archived or on a playlist, either on Facebook or on YouTube, in the different playlists, either in Facebook Watch or YouTube playlist. And that's just workshops. Just look for the workshops and you will find all of them. We've been doing these, oh gosh, I think it's going to be 2 years in August. And I started to do these before the pandemic. So I feel like I'm glad that I got comfortable with these and doing these ahead of when everyone was glued to their computers or their screens in order to have some kind of safe interaction with people. So every Friday night we talk about a different topic. I want to go ahead and share our schedule for this month. Let me make sure that I have the correct one, which I do here. I also want to kind of take down my, I do love my stars on my overlay on my stars, but I think it detracts a little bit from what I'm doing here. So let me take that away and just put up my logo. There we go. Otherwise, it blocks out my schedule of events here. So really quickly, on Friday the 5th, we did an intro to this month's episodes, and we basically took out my planner, which I have right over next to me, and discussed the episodes and the topics that you wanted to talk about this month. So that was the first Friday of March. And then on last Friday, we talked about tarot and dreams and dream work. That was a really, really fun episode. And of course, you can revisit that in the playlists of the workshops that we've done previously. So I did some interpretation and some dream work, and also showed you a little bit about how to use tarot cards or a divination tool to interpret your dreams if you were a little bit confused about what a dream meant. So definitely revisit that episode if that interests you, or if you're keeping a dream work journal, or if your dreams have been extra strange or psychic lately. I definitely think that we've been under the influence of Pisces season, and I think it was, oh gosh, it was either the new moon or the full moon in Pisces. I think it was the new moon in Pisces. So everyone was feeling particularly intuitive on that episode. And we were talking a lot about not just dreams that are prophetic dreams, but also about wish fulfillment dreams, anxiety dreams, and how to differentiate between what's an anxiety dream or a fear-based dream and when your intuition is trying to talk to you through your dreams. And I really do feel that our dreams are a way to get us to pay attention to our intuition, because we don't have those barriers or blocks that we have to our intuition in waking life. We don't have that when we're dreaming or in a dream state. And actually, that was how my intuition first started talking to me, was in my dreams and in doing dream interpretation. That was way before I even picked up my first tarot deck. So yes, tarot is my main squeeze now, but it was not my first experience with intuition. So definitely check out that episode if you are interested in dreams and how to integrate a tarot practice into interpreting your dreams. And finally, this Friday, right now, right as we're talking, we're going to do a short workshop for the pagan holiday of Ostara. It is almost, I don't want to say it's the equivalent of Easter, but it is related to Easter and to the first day of spring, and to things blossoming and seeds planting and spring cleaning. So we'll talk all about that in this episode. And then next Friday, the final Friday in March, the 26th, we are going to be talking about women in the tarot, not just women tarot deck creators, but also the women in a tarot deck. And of course, we're going to be talking about Pamela Coleman Smith and probably Lady Frida Harris, who are both artists of the tarot decks that you may be familiar with today. Pamela Coleman Smith was the primary artist that did the art for the Rider-Waite Smith deck. If you're used to hearing Rider-Waite deck, I always add on the Smith, because Pamela Coleman Smith was the artist. So we got to give our women our due, right? And Lady Frida Harris, I believe, was the primary artist for the Thoth or the Thoth deck. So two different types of tarot decks. They're both tarot decks, but we may do a side-by-side comparison of those two decks on that episode, and I'll have to dig around and see where I put my Thoth deck, because I can read with Thoth. It's just not my primary tarot deck. So, and that concludes the schedule of events. So let's move on to the astrology portion of our episode, in which we are going to take a look at the Astro Biz Digest, which is done by the lovely Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady. It is a subscription service. You can purchase your copy for $99 a year. Really, really reasonable price, honestly. And let me see here. Let me show. We don't need appointment options here. Hold on. No. No. I guess I didn't display it here. Close that. Let's see. Okay. So the AstroBiz Digest, I don't give the entirety of the week because that takes away from Teresa's work. But I give enough information so that you get a taste of her work. If it's something that appeals to you, if you like what I'm putting down, that way I'm able to say this astrology does not come from me. It comes from Teresa. It's a wonderful, wonderful service. And she brings astrology down to earth. So if you're worried about purchasing an astrology subscription service and thinking that I want Moon and Capricorn in the 5th house and like, what does that mean? Teresa explains everything in really simplistic and clear language so that you understand when Moon conjunct Neptune, when she says it, because she will say the astrology, but then she will explain what that means and how that is applicable. So really, really great. And let's see here. Let me search. Let me pull that up here. Astro. And if you have any questions about Ostara ahead of our workshop portion, please go ahead and put it in the chat. It may be a part of the notes that I already have in teaching of the workshop, but it may not be. So I would love to be able to cover any questions that you might have about Ostara. Let's see, March 15th to the 21st. Mercury entered Pisces on the 15th. Sun in Aries on the 20th. So that's tomorrow. And folks, we're getting into Aries season, and that is my birthday season. And I'm a triple Aries. In case you're new to the broadcast and you are not aware of that, I'm a very fiery person. I have 3 planets in Aries. And you can feel free to guess which 3 planets, which 2 other planets I have in Aries. I do have my sun in Aries, though. So get ready to rev your engine when the sun zooms into Aries on the 20th. You've got 4 weeks to kick ass and take names. Make waves. Blaze a million trails. Let your bold self come forward as you step into a leadership role in your community. This is not the time for timidity or playing it safe. Take all the risks and set the trends instead. The sun remains hot here until April 19th. So we're in Aries season, Aries sun placement from tomorrow until April 19th. Got a little bit confused there because we also have another planet entering Aries as well. So more fiery stuff is on the business docket when Venus bolts into the sign of the Ram on the 21st. So that would be Sunday. Marketing needs to be daring during this transit. If you want to catch eyes and clients, up-level your efforts. This will be a marvelous time for a flash sale or a courageous ask. One thing to watch out for, Venus in Aries can bring out the entitled types. If your boundaries are weak, you'll get mowed over. Be ready to sharpen your no and use it fiercely. Venus will hang in Aries until April 14th. Wow. So we've got two planets in Aries starting tomorrow and the 21st for a couple of weeks. So watch out for that and take note of that, okay? Everyone with me so far? And let me know if you're not hearing me or seeing me, because that would make this broadcast really, really short, wouldn't it? And I'm relying on some of our regular viewers here to let me know if there's any tech issues, okay? Or any spammers. Hopefully not. So I'm crossing my fingers on that one. So Friday today, whip through your inbox today and make progress on all of your communications. That Gemini moon will help you find the words to speak or write with power. The Moon-Mars conjunction at 2:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is marvelous for meeting with big shots. You can promote your work and negotiate to your advantage brilliantly if you tap into this vibe. Serious conversations lead to profitable ventures when the moon trines Saturn at 4:50 p.m. This is such a fantastic day for making deals. Put all of your essential discussions on the schedule today and then ride off into the weekend like a boss. Well, that was kind of what I was doing today. So, and I'm actually revisiting, like I do try to, okay, great. Katie is saying, can hear you and getting it. Awesome, great. That is what I live for. So that's interesting because usually what happens is I start out my week and I am actually taking Sundays off from doing readings to focus my energy in scheduling for the week ahead, but also that is going to be my sacred time for my priestess work that I've been doing and also for connection with my goddess Bridget. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that when we get into Ostara, because this is going to be a series that I'm going to be doing, not just our Friday nights workshops, but also on certain dates, I will be doing a, I can't even remember how I described it, but it's in the description, but it's basically going to be a Sabbat series about the wheel of the year, the pagan wheel of the year, and what it means to me, and different practices, rituals, and things to do on those equinoxes and solstices. So I'll talk a little bit about that before we start out Ostara, okay? So bossing up, it's a bossing up day today. And I didn't get a chance to look at the astrology ahead of the week, but I apparently was acting in accordance with the energy that's already existing right now. So that's good to hear. So Saturday and Sunday, happy spring equinox. Oh, there we go. Happy spring equinox and happy International Astrology Day as well. The sun is in the Aries bright and early at 5:37 a.m. on Saturday. Be sure to get up early, greet the sun, and read the info above the scopes to learn more about this feisty transit. It's hot. So we already did that. A PR campaign or event scheduled around 2:14 p.m. could draw new eyes to your work. But you'll need to be grounded AF because the moon will square off with Neptune at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This could cross signals and mess with your mojo. On Sunday, Venus will be in Aries beginning at 10:16 a.m. The weeks that follow are all about exciting marketing, but the moon is in Cancer and squaring off with the sun at 10:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. Rest. Do not push yourself today. If you insist on working, you'll need to pace yourself as much as possible. You'll also want to keep your shields up because aggressive types could spoil your zen. The evening could be pretty stellar for business, beginning with a Mercury-Uranus sextile at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a lovely aspect for original social media promotions, group work, or creative writing. Mars will trine Saturn at 10:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, putting practical and efficient energy into the evening. You can accomplish anything you put your mind to tonight. So if you want or need to work, the astro gods will be undoubtedly on your side. So it is a pretty lit weekend this weekend, according to the Astro Biz Digest from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady. And it's very interesting because, again, I do want to revisit how valuable the Astro Biz Digest is to me. And yes, it has an entrepreneurial bent to it, but it is really, really helpful in my own personal life too, to see what astrology is going on and to work with that energy instead of working against that energy. Now, sometimes we cannot put our lives on hold when an astrological event is going on. For example, Mercury in retrograde, everyone gives that such a bad reputation because it happens so often, and it happens for 3 weeks at a time for 3 to 4 times a year. So, but it happens so often that, you know, we need to be able to work with that energy, not against it. And sometimes if you have to sign a contract or travel or communicate or have an important meeting, you can't just go and say, well, Mercury's retrograde, so I can't do it. Because not everyone follows astrology, but also you sound kind of flaky when you say that, but also you can't put your life on hold sometimes for this. So when you have astrological transits that are difficult, we're not saying don't put your life on hold or put your life on hold. What we are saying is work with that energy and remember to double and triple check when you're going through a difficult astrological transit. Does that make sense to everyone? I hope so. So what I like to do before we wrap up this portion of the Friday night's workshop and move into our main topic for the night, I would love to take a look at the astrology from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in case some of you were having a difficult week and kind of want to know, oh, well, Tuesday was really crazy. Can I know why that was? Or was there anything going on astrologically to give an explanation as to why that was happening? So I am here for your needs. So let me know about that. I'm going to put my my iPad to the side and have that ready to go. So go ahead and drop that into the chat. If you have, okay, Lindsay Dickinson has joined on Instagram. Hello. So yeah, if you were having any issues this week, let me know if you want me to take a look at the astrology for those days for an explanation. I had a particularly rough St. Patrick's Day on Wednesday, not necessarily rough in the drinking sense, but rough in the business sense. And a lot of people were pushing past my boundaries, and a lot of people were being very difficult to work with, and the communication was not that great, and it just felt really crazy. But then when I went back to look at the AstroBiz Digest, it was a relatively quiet day astrologically. So sometimes you can't blame astrology for your problems. Sometimes you can't blame astrology for communication issues. Sometimes it is just that person or those people that you're working with, you know? So Katie is saying, yes, use the astrology to help, not hinder. Exactly. And do try to do that whenever possible. I mean, it has been kind of bonkers for like the last 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks, so much so that I wanted to go on camera and use my new light that I got from Socialite, other than my clip light that I think I told you guys about before. But I got a stand, a 6-foot stand, and a big, I think it was a 12-inch, not radius, but diameter, circle lights, and I haven't been able to set it up yet. I just haven't been able to. I unpacked it. I haven't been able to touch it yet and assemble it. So one of these days, folks, hopefully by next Friday, I will have that all set up for you. All right, note takers on any astrology weirdness other than Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? We good? Are we ready to talk about Ostara? Are we ready to talk about the spring equinox? Let's bring in the spring. I mean, we already have been experiencing lightness outside. You can see it in this is my bedroom window that I'm sitting at because I needed a little bit of separation from my husband when we were working today. We were both on calls today, almost all day. So I needed the separation of a different room and a closed door to be able to really focus on my work. So I figured, let me leave my desk here and just work. And it's also a little bit quiet because he's gone out for a social distanced hockey viewing. So he is not around tonight, folks. He cannot chime in, or you're not going to hear him burping or farting or doing anything weird on the broadcast. And yes, for those of you who are new to the broadcast, people have heard him in the past, especially his belches. They're They're quite loud and quite impressive. So not that anyone really needed to know that. Okay, let me add an item here. And let us move on to Ostara. And I never know if I'm pronouncing Ostara correctly. Is it Ostara? Is it Ostara? Ostar. I usually say Ostara. And let me actually find one of our pretty, is there a theme back here? No. Is there a background back here? No. There's some cute backgrounds. There's some cute overlays. There's a St. Patrick's Day one if we want to use that, but I would rather use, oh, that's nice. I was gonna use something fresh and springy. No, that's a little much. Let's just use this nice rainbowy one. Let's go with that. So Katie says, yes, bring in the spring. Yes, awesome, great. And Katie says, ha ha ha, he's an amusing addition to the background. Well, thankfully he's not here to hear that. And maybe if he listens or watches the broadcast later on, he usually doesn't. He lets me do my thing and he does his own thing and he's supportive, but he's not necessarily intimately interested in what I'm doing on these Friday night workshops. I did say to him in passing when I was gathering up some of my books in preparation for this broadcast that I was thinking about canceling tonight because it's just been so crazy, as I mentioned before. And then I was flipping through one of my books and I did a little bit of bibliomancy and I turned right to spring equinox, which is Ostara. And so I was just like, damn it. Yes, that's true. He gives us a chuckle whilst you are being horrified. I mean, he's very good at that. He's really good at horrifying me on occasion. And it is interesting when people see us interact. We usually snipe, we fight, but it's like it's good-natured ribbing rather than anything that's truly mean-spirited. And we're like the floor show. People are so amused by our banter. And but sometimes they are a little bit horrified, like, oh, is this a real fight? And I was just like, no, this is just how we flirt with each other. And by the way, speaking of Ostara, speaking about Aries season, my husband is also an Aries. We're both Aries. So so we banter this way and we fight, but it's our form of flirting. It's never mean-spirited. So Katie says, it's good to have some separation of our hobbies. Exactly. And this is not necessarily my hobby, but it is my business. And there is also, I got a lot on my plate. There's my tarot business in addition to my day job, but then there is also my priestess work. So this is, and I do want to go into this as we start to talk about Ostara, this is going to be a Sabbat series. And I know, and it just so happens to intersect with what people have been asking for as well. Not just about tarot, not just about divination, but also about some of the pagan holidays and how I celebrate, and a little bit about the work I'm doing as a priestess as well. And I am not full-fledged yet. I am in training to become a priestess of Bridget. So I'm going to be continuing to do that over the next year into March of 2022. And the future is now, because me saying March 2022 is like, wow. It's still weird for me to say 2021. So Katie says, your guides wanted you to teach us. They were ready, so you had to come for the ride. Yep. And that's a lot of my experience with most of the stuff and the work that I do. So yeah, okay. Anyway, so that's a little bit of behind the scenes as to why I'm teaching about Ostara tonight. So if you're here to learn about a tarot topic, you're out of luck, at least for this particular week. Tune in next week if you want to learn about women in the tarot, or if you're watching the replay, you can skip over to another video if it's not of interest to you, and that's totally fine. That is a part of the lessons that I'm learning, that I am not for everyone, and not every topic is going to be a home run or exactly what people want or need at this portion of their journey. However, I am here to serve the people that want to learn about these topics. And I know there have been several people that have been wanting me to teach about some of these Sabbats. So here you go. And we also do have, it's almost as if I was kind of gearing towards this without realizing that this was going to be a part of my year 2 priestess work, which is kind of the ministerial portion of teaching. Because I already did a Yule workshop previous to this in December, and this was before I even received my assignments about year 2. So I feel like we were starting to go towards it, and I'm kind of in the place that I need to be already, without really realizing it until I realized in retrospect, oh, I was already gearing towards this anyway. So this is kind of perfect. It's kismet, it's synchronicity, and that's what I love, not only about priestess work, pagan work, magic work, spell work, but also about tarot. So much of tarot and sometimes intuition is synchronicity, or synchronicity is in a form of intuition. So along that vein, I did want to point out the Yule workshop that we did a few months ago, in December, I believe it was. So let me take a look here. I do have that in my, oh, wrong playlist. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. Gosh, how many episodes ago was this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, about 10, 11 episodes ago. I'm telling you, I do these every week. So, all right, I've got the link here. I got it. Let's see. By the way, this is also a reminder to me to add this into linking when I go back and I clean up the YouTube videos. So if you want to take a look at the Yule workshop that I did, you can go ahead and revisit that in both places, Facebook Watch and also on YouTube, but that is the thumbnail to look out for, Yule workshop, the pagan holiday of Yule. So, and you can recognize it by the red and green sleigh bell cat ears that I'm wearing. Very, very festive. So Katie says, guides were lining you up for it. Exactly. That's just how it works sometimes, right? Okay. So Ostara. I'm not going to get really too in depth about Ostara, because Ostara can mean so many things to so many people, but it is basically the spring equinox. And I do want to give a shout out to our Southern Hemisphere friends, because they are not going to be celebrating Ostara at this time seasonally. They are probably, I believe they're experiencing, so Ostara is the spring equinox. So they would be experiencing the autumnal equinox at this time. And hopefully, if you're watching from the Southern Hemisphere and you happen to be a witch and I'm wrong about that, please go ahead and put that in the comments, but be nice. Nicely correct me, but I believe it's autumnal equinox that Southern Hemisphere witches are celebrating at this time. So very quickly from Moonwise, by Daniel Farr, Astrology for Self-Understanding and Lunar Energies. using the power of the moon to transform your life. This happens to be the book that I flipped to, and I flipped right to the spring equinox. And I'm looking for the autumnal equinox really quickly here. And people there are people that refer to the autumnal, I believe the autumnal equinox, as Maban, and I don't personally call the autumnal equinox Maban anymore, because I don't think it's entirely respectful to Welsh and Celtic deities and Irish deities. So I refer to it as the autumnal equinox. So you will never hear me say Maban. Just letting you know. So spring equinox is traditionally thought of as March 21st. This day is comprised of equal lengths of light and darkness. It is halfway between the winter solstice, shortest day of the year, and the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. This day is celebrated as the first day of spring and the beginning of a new astrological year. So that is the reason why Aries, is the first sign of the zodiac and are the born leaders of the zodiac, because we are the first sign of the astrological year. Thank you, Katie. Thank you. I knew you're from the Southern Hemisphere, so thank you for clarifying. Yes, we were heading into autumn after a hot, humid summer. I love autumn. Yeah, autumn is my favorite time of year too. I love fall. I got married in the fall, well, fall-ish. I got married in August. So we were very, very lucky that it was not hot and humid and muggy or anything like that. We had such a beautiful day because we did get married outside. We had tents. So, but I wanted to enjoy the outdoors and everything. And then I really didn't consider like, oh, please let the weather line up. Please let it not be hot and muggy and people are miserable on my wedding day. That would be awful, but it wasn't. It was beautiful. So that is the spring equinox. And I wanted to see maybe if there is anything else in here, because I wanted to talk a little bit about the moon. No, Aries moon. My moon is not in Aries, folks. Thank goodness. I think that would just be too much. I think I would explode if I had another planet in Aries. It wouldn't be good. Moon sign. Let's put that book aside. I turned right to spring equinox, and I don't think there was anything else in here, particularly. Spring equinox. Let's see. Oh, we have a couple of notes on the summer solstice, though. Let me see. There we go. 2 and 223. All right. There's only one note. Let me take a look. All right, come on. Where's the spring equinox on page 2? Can't find it. So it's not applicable. All right. Didn't want this. Okay, so some of the things that I wanted to touch upon before I move into some of my more witchy, ritualistic colors, flowers associated with the spring equinox or Ostara, or the deities associated with Ostara, is spring cleaning. That concept of spring cleaning and renewal and refreshing, there's a reason for it. It lines up with the energies of this season, of spring season, or the first day of spring. And we do see Zuri's here. Hello, Zuri. Nice to see you. Welcome to the broadcast. And of course, I would love to hear your thoughts about Ostara as well. Again, chime in if you have background information about Ostara. I would love to hear it because different people celebrate differently. And I am open to all forms of celebration, and at harm none, do as you will, right? So I grabbed this book from my stack because this is a really great book, and then his other book is actually really great too. But I don't think I have it. I think it's in our Coven library, but it's really awesome too. So this is Kiarman's Deliverance: Hoodoo Spells of Uncrossing, Healing, and Protection. So there's a lot of yes, this is a book about uncrossing, healing, protection, but a lot of this book has a reference to spiritual and energetic hygiene that has its roots in cleansing, physical cleansing, cleansing of your home, cleansing of your space, cleansing of your body. So this time of year is a really great time, not only to do energetic cleansing of your body, but it's also a great time to get rid of your clutter, do some spring cleaning, open up the windows, let the fresh air in. It is in keeping with the spring equinox, that first day of spring. And we've got some hellos happening in the chat here. Awesome, great, love that. So, some of this stuff where there are spells of uncrossing, healing, and protection, sometimes you don't need an uncrossing. Sometimes you don't need a protection spell. Sometimes you don't need a healing spell. What you do need is your baseline spiritual hygiene to be in order, your baseline spring cleaning to happen. If you go back to that and you do it on a regular basis, you won't have to do, or you may not have to do, an uncrossing or protection. So really great book. This is the cover of the book, and Zuri is giving us a big love that book. Yeah. And so I do want to point out his other book, which is specifically about cleansings as well. Let me see if I can look it up here. And if people know it off the top of their head, let me know. And Kiarman's website is Impact Shamanism, I believe. Let me see, books. Yes, Clearing Spaces. Clearing Spaces, Inspirational Techniques to Heal Your Home is another book that I would recommend. And he's a specialist in space clearing with, of course, expertise in root work and shamanism. And most of the energetic issues in their home, their office, any structure goes back to making sure that you're clearing your space on a regular basis. Clearing and purifying. So let me go ahead and drop that into the chat so you can find out about both of those books that I mentioned, both Deliverance and about clearing spaces. There is also a book of some shop flyers, but I don't think they are necessarily available through that website. I believe they're available through Lucky Mojo. So, just another great company. So I've dropped that into the chat in both Facebook and YouTube. Sorry, Instagrammers, you're just going to have to look that up from my voice. Kiarmand, K-H-I, impactshamanism.com. Okay. So there's that. Oh, and that is just without my notes. So let me go to my notes here, because I have a whole ton of links from Llewellyn Publishing as well. Hold on one second here. Where's my Ostara Workshop? Okay. So I think I've already defined Ostara, but let me go back to my notes. In short, it is the spring equinox, or the first day of spring in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, witches are celebrating autumn equinox. Equinoxes are a time of balance. So equinoxes, whether spring or fall, examine the concept of balance and how it comes into play in your life. And that is a great focal point. And just not just about spring and spring cleaning and freshening up and everything. It really goes back. Equinox is balance. Is your life in balance right now? How can you bring your life to balance? What is taking up your time and energy? What should be taking up your time and energy? So it's usually celebrated on March 21st in the Northern Hemisphere. Why it's celebrated? Because it is that first day of spring. We are going to talk a little bit about some rituals or traditions to honor the day. Eggs. Hi. So a lot of the celebrations that you're familiar with, if you're familiar with Easter, Easter is very interesting because Easter is like a Catholic and a Christian holiday, but we also would be remiss to not talk about the secularization of Easter as well. It's kind of the same thing as the secularization of Halloween, in which Halloween is a very big holiday, a big Sabbat, and it's like the witch's new year, and it is a time to honor the dead, and it is a time to connect to departed loved ones, and it is a time to really plan for the coming winter and going within, and divination as well. But a lot of people think of Halloween as, eating candy and dressing up and trick-or-treating. And so too, we have that secularization happening with Ostara, with Easter, where we're talking about chocolate, we're talking about bunnies, we're talking about painting eggs. And so a lot of the celebration of Easter on the secular level has its roots in pagan practices, in pagan rituals. So I would love to hear from people what you do during Easter, and I can probably tie it in to the pagan holiday of Ostara. So those bunnies, like why bunnies? Why the Cadbury bunny, for example? Because bunnies are a symbol of fertility, and bunnies are very well known. Rabbits are very well known for like not to be crass or anything, but like humping like rabbits, or like multiplying like bunnies. They're a symbol of fertility. So and the egg is also a symbol of fertility, of promise, of new life. So let me know in the chat what you do during Easter, and I can tie it into Ostara and the pagan holiday and how pagans or witches celebrate Ostara while I'm pulling up my notes. So Ostara, the associated deity for Ostara was Iestre. I'm going to pronounce that wrong. I probably pronounced that wrong. It was named for the Teutonic goddess Eostra, who eventually led the Christian holiday, which eventually led to the Christian holiday of Easter. The main themes of Ostara are rebirth and fertility. Symbols for Ostara include rabbits, flowers, and eggs, like I was mentioning. Oh, and that's the end of my notes. Well, my quick notes. So. And I'm going to include a bunch of links after the episode that you can go through on your own time as to different rituals or Sabbat rituals that you can do for yourself this weekend, whether it is tomorrow or whether it is Sunday, whichever works for you. And some of these rituals are going to come from, I believe, I don't know when this book came out, but I feel like it's relatively new, and it's a book entirely on Ostara. Actually, it's not new. I don't know why. Didn't realize it's not new. Came out in 2015. So Llewellyn does have a Sabbat Essential series, and there is, I think there's a book for every, let me see. Oh my goodness, there's a book for every one of them. I need to get this on my shelf. Anyway, so there is a book on Ostara, and that one is written, I think, in compilation with several authors, but I believe the main author or compiler or editor is Carrie Connor. So time for renewal, a time to plant seeds as the earth once again comes to life. A guide to the history and modern celebrations of Ostara shows you how to perform rituals and work magic to renew your power and passion for living and growing. So that has rituals, recipes, lore, spells, divination, crafts, correspondences, invocations, prayers and meditations. So you can find that on Llewellyn. There's apparently a Sabbat Essential series, and you can check out all of the different Sabbats. So Katie says, rebirth in Christianity matches with the pagan rebirth of the earth. Exactly. So what is the big story around Easter? It's the, I believe it's the crucifixion and the resurrection of Jesus. Now, I've been out of the Christianity game for a number of years, but I was raised Episcopal, so I know the stories, I know the basic background here. But yes, you're correct, Katie. Rebirth in Christianity matches with the rebirth of the earth. The snow is melting, the snowdrops are coming out, the crocuses are coming out, and the world is waking up again. So definitely rebirth and fertility. Let's see. I'm just gonna keep this open for when I can send these links here. Hold on one second. Got a lot of. Why can't I just want to open the link. Don't want to think about it. I just want to open the link. Okay. So I will include an article about Ostara and bringing balance. But this is a really long article, but there's a lot of great things you can do that are not necessarily rituals in order to honor Ostara. There's a tons of simple things that you can do, right down to going for a walk in nature, or picking flowers with reverence, of course, or going to a florist and getting a bouquet to decorate your home, or to help set up your table for a feast on the spring equinox. Hold on one second here. We've got a ton of stuff here, not just for ritual. Sometimes, so this is again from the article by Carrie Connor, focusing more on balance. Sometimes it can be hard to look past the big picture and see smaller signs of life that are bursting forth. The crocuses, snowdrops, and daffodils, birds are returning. If you pay real close attention, you can see the grass changes color, getting closer and closer to the lush green of midsummer. Life is renewing, it's starting over. The sun is shining more. And while it is often simple things that get us through life and help us to change our perspectives, it is also true that the simple things are really easy to forget. We forget to play, we forget to be happy, we forget to do these things. We wake up all day and go through the routines and go through the motions, but are we stopping and thinking about what it is that we're doing? So time for new beginnings, growth, new life. Refresh and rejuvenate your own life and your home. Do things differently than you normally do something unexpected, and shake it up a little bit. Break bad habits and start good habits. Create a bucket list. This is a really nice phrase. While you wait for the sun to grow to its full strength, spread some sunshine of your own. So walking barefoot through grass, hugging a tree, volunteering at an animal shelter, picking up trash on the side of the road, putting out a bird feeder and keeping it filled, composting, buying a new coloring book and crayons and use them, blow bubbles, finger paints, splash in a rain puddle, buy flowers and pass them out to people you don't know. Do a tree pose for a few minutes. Being thankful isn't just for November. Think of 3 things every day you're thankful for and having that attitude of gratitude. It's a long list, guys. It's a long list. Learning when to say no, but also when to say yes. By a word of the day calendar, so appreciation for others. Basically, it's a really great time to not only refresh your home, but refresh your life, refresh your routine, right? Dean is here. I did get some tulips today. Perfect, perfect. I think that's a great Ostara ritual or an Ostara thing to do. And welcome to the broadcast, Dina. It's nice to have you. So, and this is a long list, guys. So I'll share that in the chat after this episode. Let's see what else here. And here's another take on Ostara: time to recreate yourself too. Because a lot of people do understand the primary concepts of the solar celebration over Ostara. And we know that it's the spring equinox. It's a day of balance. And if, eggs in the springtime, and it has this cliche of renewal. But it could be, instead of renewal, maybe it is a time of recreation, or a time maybe to change out your wardrobe, or try a new lipstick, or try a new hairstyle, or doing something completely different, using the energy of Ostara to recreate or reinvent yourself into the person that you want to be. That can be spiritual, it can be emotional, it can be physical. Ostara is here to help grow our wishes. So in Eden McCoy's opinion, instead of renewal, let's call it recreation. Let's see. And we can call it, where did it go? It was such a good thought here. Hold on. I think she mentioned the concept of having Ostara be, instead of to be almost like a second New Year for us. Hello, Perry9295. Welcome to the broadcast. I just skipped right over it. Hold on one second here. Yes, think of the Sabbat as a second New Year for pagans. In pagan Rome, March 25th was the New Year, the date on which the equinox occurred at that time. So take time for introspection, decide what you like most about yourself and embrace it, and be honest about what you don't like about yourself, and ask yourself whether you really want to change each negative aspect. Some people will admit their flaws, and they find that they have no desire to change them either. So you're allowed to be selective. You're allowed to change what you would like about yourself. Only you know how much time you can put into recreating yourself, and start to visualize your new life. Embrace yourself as more than raw material. This is a really great, and there is a suggestion for a ritual here too. So we'll definitely include that. And I really wanted to talk about that recreation aspect because, I mean, in certain, I would agree with that point that we focus a lot on the renewal and the eggs and the seeds, and the bunnies of Ostara, but we don't necessarily look at recreation or realizing that only we can recreate ourselves, and that we are allowed to change our lives, and we're allowed to grow into the people that we want to become, and we can do that at any point in time, and that is up to us to do. I know it sounds like a silly example of this, but when I was younger, I really hated my handwriting. And one day I decided, you know what, I'm going to change my handwriting little by little. And I did. And now the handwriting that I have is the handwriting that I wanted to have when I was 12, 13 years old, and I worked at it, and I continued to work at it until my handwriting changed into what I wanted it to be. Now, I know that seems like a silly or superfluous example of change, but it's something that was important to me. It's something that I wanted. Like, I wanted my handwriting to be legible, and I wanted to like look at it and as almost art. And of course, I did do some calligraphy when I was younger. That was one of my hobbies that I liked to do. But that's a great example. Like, choose something different. Choose something that you're interested in. Choose a way to recreate yourself or reinvent yourself at this time. It doesn't just have to be about spring cleaning. It doesn't just have to be about renewal. We can also talk about Ostara as recreation. So colors associated with Ostara: white, yellow, green, some symbols, eggs, and decorating eggs. And decorating eggs has been done at springtime since the days of ancient Egypt and Persia. In ancient Egypt and today in the Eastern Orthodox Church, eggs are usually dyed red. Red is the color of the life force, the sun, and Christ's blood. The egg is rich with symbolism. The shell can represent the earth or Christ's tomb. The white is associated with the heavens, and the yolk with the sun. And honestly, any colors or any flowers or any symbol can be symbolic or have meaning to you for Ostara. I mean, and don't forget, like, I mean, like Dina was saying before, I did get some tulips today. Tulips, daffodils. I always think of dandelions or snowdrops or lily of the valley. I always remember at my childhood home, we had lily of the valleys growing along the side of our house. And I loved to pluck them and pick them and make little flower arrangements and smell them. And then it actually turns out that lily of the valley is one of the flowers associated with April birthdays, I think. So, of course, of course, there's an association there. So let's see what else. So much stuff. Narcissus, an invigorating scents as well, like citrus, like pine, rosemary, eucalyptus, anything that makes you feel invigorated and alive and associated with the sun. Citrine would also be a great crystal to use in some solar celebrations as well. And there are spring cleaning spells as well. Yeah, keep in mind that anything can be a spell, and any work that you do in spring cleaning can be associated with the holiday or be almost a devotional to your gods, your deities, or to the earth. Or to your own spiritual practice as well. Like, we're talking a lot about balance when we're talking about the spring equinox. Sometimes the only balance that I find, and I know this sounds really, really weird here, but I find balance when I'm doing dishes or when I'm cleaning the counters. And I am not a spring cleaning kind of person. I'm not a cleaning person in general. Like, I am surrounded by clutter right now, and you don't even want to know. You don't even want to know. I've got a pile of clothes over here, pile of clothes over here. You don't need to see it, folks. You just don't. But I find a sense of calming and peace and balance when I'm taking a shower or cleaning the bathroom or doing the dishes. And so you can do that as a devotional practice along with your spiritual practices as well. So Dina says, eat some dandelion greens. Actually, I've had dandelion greens before. They can be kind of bitter. It depends on how you prepare them. One of our family friends visited us quite a few years ago, and we went to the Greek restaurant near our house, or my former house, where my mother still lives. And he ordered dandelion greens, and we kind of looked at him like, and he was like, here, try some. I got it for the entire table. And we were just like, no, thanks. But they were all right, but they were a little too bitter for my taste. But yeah, that's another great thing to bring up, Dina. What food do you associate with Easter besides chocolate? I associate Easter and Ostara with ham, because that's just always what my mom would do when we would have Easter dinner. Is she would make a ham, and so I looked forward to all of the leftovers, as well as like having the ham, and then having the leftovers and the ham sandwiches afterwards. And then she would make this split pea and ham soup, which I wasn't really a fan of because I don't really like split pea soup, but she would make it every single time, and I'm just like, I'm not going to eat that. Yes. Thank you, Katie, for reminding me about that. Hot cross buns. Yes. My sister would pick them up. We haven't gotten the opportunity to bake those hot cross buns, but she would always pick them up from the pastry place that was near us. And it wasn't Easter morning without having a hot cross bun and a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. So good. I can taste them in my mouth right now. Yes, our family just lived on hot crust buns for months around Easter. Exactly. And I do want to mention, because like food is so much of a part of our celebrations, not just pagan celebrations, but all religious celebrations, because it gives us this sense of consistency and tradition. And it's just like, well, it's Christmas. We always have this on Christmas. Otherwise, it's kind of not Christmas. Like, for example, in my family, my parents are originally from England, both of my parents. So a lot of people think I'm pretentious when I'm actually just British, and I have this New York accent coming out of my mouth and saying Britishisms. Anyway, story of my life. But we would have a plum pudding, because we would just have a plum pudding. And I think one of my cousins was actually on Instagram just now, and they follow me on Instagram, which is a little bit weird. But most of my family actually still lives in England. My cousins, my aunts, my uncles. So we would have to have a plum pudding with the white sauce. We would light it on fire. No one would ever want to eat the plum pudding, really. But it was more fun to slather it in alcohol and watch it catch on fire. But it wasn't Christmas without it. It wasn't Christmas without the crackers, which are the things you pull apart and you wear the paper crown. And my husband now is very intimately familiar with all of these traditions surrounding Christmas, or saying Happy Christmas instead of Merry Christmas. That's another British thing. And wearing the paper crowns when you eat. Otherwise, you're not allowed to eat your Christmas dinner. You can just go away. Like, you're not allowed to sit at the table without wearing that paper crown and looking like an idiot. This is tradition. So for Ostara, it's kind of the same thing. And though my immediate family are not pagans, we can still celebrate this time of renewal together. I just have a little bit of a different perspective, but I'll still, I'll still gladly accept a chocolate bunny and not say, and not correct people when they say Happy Easter. And I'm happy to give the information, like in these workshops, about Ostara and how pagans celebrate and how we celebrate a little bit differently. Yes, Dina, I changed up the filter. It's an overlay. Just to get it a little bit cleaner than all of my stars. But thank you for noticing. That's why I put up the rainbow in honor of Ostara. So let me see if I had any other notes about Ostara, because it looks like we're wrapping up here. And I'm realizing I did not grab, no, I did grab a deck. Ha! I did grab a deck for our weekend forecast. Again, I'm going to keep on coming back to this, back to the concept of self-care as it's applicable to spring cleaning as well. Just remember, to take time to care for yourself, taking time to care for yourself and for your surroundings. That's not just an Ostara thing. That's like a life thing, I could have sworn there was an applicable Ostara Easter spring equinox kind of thing in here, but there isn't. Besides do your best or keep growing. You gotta see this. Keep growing. There you go. But I did want to mention about the food stuff, because now I'm really hungry. Now I'm starving. The food stuff, there is a really, really wonderful resource that you should look into, because I'm gonna pull this up too. There you are. And I'm gonna drop this into the chat here. But there's a new book that came out recently called A Kitchen Witch's Guide to Recipes for Love and Romance. It doesn't necessarily have to be all about love and romance, but it's by Dawn Hunt, who is the basically kitchen witchery. And this is her company, and so I'm gonna drop it into the chat here. But she has I think a couple of cookbooks out there, or recipe books. One of them is I think Welcome to the Temple, and it's like a compilation of different recipes associated with the different Sabbats. And then there's another, I can't remember how many books she has. She has a couple. I know that people are asking questions in the chat. Give me just 1 second here, because I want to make sure I give. Oh, there's recipes for stuffed squash blossoms, spicy simmer sauce. I'm gonna see if there's some Ostara recipes in here. Hello, Unapologetically Witchy. Welcome to the broadcast. Ooh, Ostara Bountiful Bagels. Okay. All right. I'm gonna just. This might be one of the ones that I give a bunch of updated notes and links in the description. So she has a couple of different recipes: Ostara Bountiful Bagels, garlic roasted greens that she made for a party to celebrate Ostara, spring nest salad. Oh God, I'm hungry again. Always hungry. Let me see here. Recipes shop. But there was a couple of books that she did about recipes to specifically celebrate the different Sabbats. So I'm sure she has a bunch of recipes for Ostara, and I just found some for you guys, which I will also drop in the chat. And Unapologetically Witchy says, thank you, I'm a fan from Card Slangers. Thank you so much. It's really great to hear that people are enjoying our podcast, and we really love to do it, and I hope it shows. I think it shows. And I can't remember what the next episode is going to be. I don't have the list of episodes, but it's not this Friday. It's next Friday. The 26th, I think, is the next episode that we're dropping. So yay! Thank you so much. Let me show this. And Katie, asks, will your priestess practices involve something particular for Ostara? Thank you. So that's what I wanted to kind of finish up doing, finish up talking about for Ostara. So thank you for the reminder. Otherwise, I was just going to move right on to the weekend forecast. But my particular practices, so what I'm going to do for Ostara is I'm probably going to be attending our virtual Ostara with my own coven. We are primarily located in Connecticut, so it's only about an hour drive away from me. But of course, with the pandemic going on, we switched right over to Zoom meetings, basically. And it's been very, very interesting to attend rituals over Zoom and also perform rituals over Zoom. So I can't, I'm not running Ostara. My high priestess is going to be running Ostara, but I believe what we're doing is we'll probably be imbuing seeds with our intentions and then planting those seeds and watering them and watching them grow and blossom. And that's a ritual or a kind of spell that we often do during Ostara. And I know I mentioned about renewal or reinvention and maybe doing something different, but sometimes you want to do the same thing or the same kind of spell every year in order to give it that power of tradition. So it's just like, this is what makes Ostara for us, for our particular group, for our particular coven. So that's usually how I celebrate Ostara, is taking, getting a packet of seeds, or even a plant or a sapling, and imbuing it with the energy of my wishes and what I want to grow and what I want to empower and bring into my life for the upcoming year. So in the sense where I said from that article that I was reading from, that it is like kind of a second new year for pagans, it kind of is, really. And of course, when you're doing that, like we did use eggshells at one point to help feed our daffodils. I think we did one year where we purchased a number of small daffodils and gave it out to everyone during the public ritual that we did. And of course, this is prior to the pandemic, where we were actually running public rituals. And so in that portion, like we often do, it's almost an arts and crafty kind of Sabbat for us, in which we all sit together, like we cast a space, we cast a circle, but then we kind of have this like arts and crafty, here's your daffodil, here's your stuff, here's your eggs, and we're gonna take our eggshells, or we're gonna take our seedlings, and we're gonna hold it in our hands and imbue our energy or of our wishes into this before we put the eggshells in. If we already had the daffodils, the pre-planted daffodils, we would put that energy into the eggshells that we would add to the soil in order for that to grow and nourish the daffodils. And it was really interesting to hear back from attendees of that ritual, where we would come back and it's just like, hey, I got that new job and my daffodil is huge. So it's just like magic works, you know? So I hope that answers your question a little bit, Katie. I don't know what we have planned for this particular ritual over Zoom, but I think it's probably going to be along that vein, where we're either going to be writing down things and putting it into the soil in our own respective households, but joining together on Zoom to do that work. Yeah, so seed planting mostly. Interesting you mentioned seed planting. That was a family tradition. There we go. The weekend of spring start, we used to sit and go through all the seeds collected from previous years and work out what we were planting. Perfect. That is just so beautiful. And that's a very Ostara thing. So case in point. So people have their own family traditions and they have their own personal traditions. And just because mine might be a little bit different than yours, or yours might be a little bit different than mine, it's all completely valid, because it is mostly about energy and intention and the meaning behind what you're doing. So actually, let me see if I can pull up one of past Ostara rituals, because I definitely have a lot of documentation of past rituals that we've done. Let me just search, see if I can pull something up. Yep. I've got several. Let's look at that. Let me see the one from 2019. I do see the one for this year too. Yes, yes, spiritual seeds for this growth. Yeah, so for 2019 we did a guided meditation. And we did a private. I think this was a private ritual that we did for spring equinox. Just because sometimes we just read the energy, and certain Sabbats we'll do publicly, and then other Sabbats we feel like we need to do a private ritual for just our coven. But most of the time we'll do public rituals for like 6 out of the 8 Sabbats, and certain Sabbats are private to our coven, just because energetic we feel that difference, or we feel like we need to keep one private or not. It's not that it's not that our practices are private particularly, just perhaps our reaction or what we're going through is private. So so we did a cleansing first, and then now that we've cleansed ourselves of the things that no longer serve us, we are better able to set our intentions and plant our seeds, taking the time to think about what you want to accomplish this season and what you want to come to fruition this year. So this was like kind of, and then we did a meditation about like the spiritual seeds. And then we planted the seeds. We took those seeds and then we brought them home and planted them. So that was 2019. Let's see. Let me see. Oh, geez. No, it wasn't from, this was, our Ostara was online. And I think that was our first, wow. Thank you for asking about this. This is like all coming rearing back to me. That was the first ritual. That was the first Sabbat that we celebrated online, Ostara, March 21st, 2020. We did a meditation, we did the seed stuff. So again, that seed. We also did cakes and ale. Yeah. So, wow, that's bringing it back. Okay. Any other questions about Ostara before we move on to the weekend forecast? Because I can't believe it is already 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we should be wrapping this baby up. But I hope that answered your question, Katie. I've got so many links to share with you guys. It's kind of great. I'm very excited. All right. If no one has any questions, we're going to move into the weekend forecast. Great. Awesome. And if anyone has any last thoughts they want to share about Ostara, or any personal practices that they do, or spell work they do, or cleansings that they do at this time of year, please go ahead and put that into the chat, and I'm going to prep us for the weekend forecast before we finish things off, right? And I think for, yeah, Katie, but just be prepared. It's a ton of links. It's a lot of links. It's a lot of links. I'm probably going to get flagged for spam for my own freaking feed with the amount of links I have. So I might post a few tonight right after the episode is over. And then I might post a few more tomorrow, just to make sure I space them out so I don't get flagged for spam on my own freaking page. Or I might create a note, actually. I wonder if I can do that. Yeah, let me see if I can create a notation that, or a separate post so that people can actually see it. All right, are we ready for the weekend forecast? So I am being drawn to pull a card from the Miracles Now Oracle deck by Gabby Bernstein. So it's more affirmation rather than oracle deck, but sometimes it's kind of both. So these are inspirational affirmations and life-changing tools. So this is the Miracles Now deck. Everyone can see. And I don't know, Dina, if the yes is for this deck or for all the links or both. It's fine. It's fine if it's both. So let's do this thing. Ugh. Fine. So the deep card is speaking to me. So just to let you know, when I say deep card, when I pull out a deck, it's the bottommost deck. And sometimes I'll flip it over to see if there's something subconscious going on, or if there's like a deeper theme going on, or something that I really need to know. I'll feel moved to look at the deep card. And so I'm going to pull the deep card from the bottom of the deck, but I'm also going to pull another card after I shuffle. Because I think we need both. I think we need two this weekend. I'm just saying, we need two. What do we most need to know for this weekend? All right. Maybe we need three. I'm going to read you both of the cards, and then you tell me if we need a third one, all right? Okay, so the deep card is releasing anger from the past sets me free in the present. Okay. And the card that I pulled after shuffling is, when I honor my feelings, I find my power in powerless situations. So this is kind of like a double whammy. And to me, it's very, very relevant, because I was thinking about something that I probably shouldn't have been thinking about right now, but unfortunately my brain just went right back to it. So with a deck like this, that's wordy, that doesn't really have images to interpret, I usually just go with exactly what is being said. And I agree with you on unapologetically witchy. Third, LOL. So we've got a vote over on Instagram for pulling a third card. And I agree with that. So I'm going to pull a third card. So Katie says, those are great renewal cards, LOL. Yes, yes, they are. They're also very frustrating too. So let's pull a third one. I'm kind of afraid. All right. One more shuffle. Yeah, we're done. We're done pulling. I begin my day with love. I'm trying. So it feels very overwhelming right now. These two cards and then this third card. I think this third card is what we need to do remembering that, remembering honor our feelings. We're finding our power in powerless situations. But first and foremost, we need to begin our days with love. So that is a big old whammy for the weekend forecast. I hope you enjoyed that. I am probably going to pull a tarot card of the day and put it on social media directly after this broadcast, because it's been 2 days in a row that I haven't been able to touch my tarot deck, and I'm not cool with that. I'm not happy about that. And I feel like a lot of this is because of work stuff, which I have allowed to let creep into my personal time, and I'm not going to do that anymore. So beginning our day with love, or ending our day with love too, and ending the broadcast with love, right? Unapologetically Witchy says, makes sense. Katie says, all about rebirth and new starts. Exactly. Exactly. So this has been another wonderful edition of Tarot by Hilary Live. I thank you all so much for joining me. Again, I want to remind you that we do this every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for joining me for my first Sabbat series kind of workshop. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot about Ostara and different rituals, practices, cleaning, and recreation of your life, you know? So Katie says, thank you and have a good weekend. Thank you for joining us. So again, next Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to be talking about women in the tarot, not only about female deck creators, but also Pamela Coleman Smith and Lady Frida Harris, who created the Rider-Waite-Smith decks and the Thoth deck, respectively. We're also going to be talking about women that appear in the tarot deck, and maybe some tarot deck creators that are female identifying from today, from present day. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I hope you all are too, especially since it's Women's Appreciation Month, or what was it, International Women's Day earlier in the month. So I want to be able to call that out and show the appreciation there. So that is our next episode. That wraps up the month of March, and then the first episode in April, we'll be talking about scheduling the episodes for the month of April. So looking forward to that. And also let me know what topics you'd like me to cover in upcoming episodes, whether I've taught it before or whether you want me to teach it again for part 2, because we're always learning, we're always growing, and I'm always getting new information. Even when I teach about a topic previously and I teach it again, I feel like a new perspective is always there. It's not that I'm revisiting or rehashing that information. I feel like I'm rediscovering that information every time I teach it to you. So I'm learning and you're learning as well. So it's kind of the best thing of both worlds, right? All right. That is it. That is the broadcast for tonight. I thank you all so much for watching. Once again, I am Hilary, professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friend, do not argue with me. You have intuition. Have a wonderful weekend. I will see you again next Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you would like a reading with me, you can certainly book one at tarotbyhilary.com. I would love to serve you with the tarot cards. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Bye, everyone.